I was always overweight my entire life, pretty much. I was on every diet you could possibly imagine. I started drinking when I was 15, moved on to drugs later in my late 20s, early 30s.
Welcome, everyone, to the Next Health Podcast. My name is Eric Johnson, and I'm here to help you make those little changes that'll make a big impact in your life. And today, we have a super brave and inspiring guest joining us. As you heard on the preview, she's going to share her deeply personal journey through sacrifice and life challenges. This includes her battle with weight from a young age and her long road to sobriety. This conversation is about more than just numbers on a scale or years of being clean. It's about the profound connection between our past, our environment, and the decisions that we make about our health. She's going to walk us through all her epiphany moments, the strategies that she found that truly worked for her, and how she built a life of sustained health and happiness. Get ready for a powerful and transparent discussion that might just resonate with your own journey. Let's dive in. So, the first question I'd like to ask you, um, I know I didn't have this on our interview questions, but I just really would like to know just a little bit more about you and who you are.
Um, so I grew up in New York. I was born in Brooklyn, raised in Staten Island, pretty much middle class family. I was always overweight my entire life, pretty much. I was on every diet you could possibly imagine. Um, and you want you want information about my addiction too, right?
Sure, if you're willing to share, that would be
Yeah.
great.
I'm an open book. Um, I started drinking when I was 15, moved on to drugs later in my late 20s, early 30s. Like I said, my weight was always an issue, but I felt like as long as I, did my hair and had makeup on and had my nails done, like even though I was overweight, like it wouldn't matter, which of course that was crazy. But I went to school to be a hairdresser, and then later in life I started working for the New York City Board of Education, and then I left the board and got a job privately at an auto repair shop. And throughout my addiction, um, I did a lot of things I'm not proud of, um, as far as any addict does, but that's basically the gist of me to now.
I super appreciate you for sharing. Oftentimes, we see our environment has a huge impact on the things we do and the decisions that we make. So I super appreciate that you were sharing that. I myself, I'm from Arkansas. So if you know anything about people in Arkansas, they eat everything that flies, swims, runs, just about everything. And uh, those things are presented to the kids and people as a delicacy, and really, it's just hurting the people. So it's always interesting to hear someone's outlook away from you in a different part of the world. So I really appreciate you sharing that.
Well, as far as food goes, I mean, my family, my mother and father were always on me and my sister about our weight. I was not enabled to eat, so I was, a secret eater, I guess you would call it. I would sneak snacks, or, once I was able to drive, I would go through a drive-through and eat in the car. So, my parents were always trying to get us to lose weight, and I always did whatever they asked of me because, of course, I was young back then. I did everything from OptiFast, um, to Weight Watchers to uh, a nutritionist, to just any diet you can imagine. I tried, and nothing, not that nothing would ever work. I just didn't really want it back then. And as far as my drinking, I would drink and I would become a different person. So I didn't really, um, I was very promiscuous in my 20s because of my alcohol. Um, it turned me into a different person, and I was a blackout drinker. So I would wake up and not know what I did the night before a lot of times. And a lot of it involved, sexual encounters, and one thing just snowballed into the other, basically.
And I just want you to know that's huge, 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 huge that you are being transparent in your reflection and sharing because I feel like it's all connected.
Yes,
Who as a child, as a young person, what do you know until you figure it out? How do
right.
you figure out that it's wrong or not good for you until you go through it? So I'm curious to know what was your aha moment when you figured out this is it. This is where I'm going to make a change. This is when I'm really going for it.
So my weight loss journey started in 97. One of my best friends got engaged and she asked me to be in her wedding. I was 317 pounds back then. And something just clicked in my head. I realized I didn't want to be in a wedding looking the way I looked. So me and one of my friends joined Weight Watchers, and she got married in October of 99. And by the time she got married, I had about 110 pounds off. And I really like thought who the hell I was. You know what I mean? Like I thought I looked great.
Wow.
Um, I became even more outgoing. I was always very outgoing, but it blossomed when I lost all that weight. And over the next couple of months after her wedding, I continued to do Weight Watchers. I didn't work out a lot, but I did the treadmill. I had a treadmill in my house. I did it every morning for about a half hour. And, you know, I don't know how to say it, but like slowly things began to become normal again. Like I started eating without watching what I would eat, and I started putting some of the weight back on. Um, and then I discovered Stacker Twos. They were sold over the counter, and that would help me like not eat. And it would, I bounced around with, you know, I would say about 40 pounds here and there, on, off, on, off. And then just around the year I turned 30, which was 31, I think it was, I discovered crystal meth, and it was on from there. I started doing meth every day, and I realized that the meth would make me not eat. So again, 60 pounds on and off, 60 pounds on and off. If I can get meth, it was great. Then I started taking Adderall. I used to go to a doctor that would prescribe it without even, you know, knowing what the hell I was using it for. And I was eating them like candy. And my weight just bounced around if I was able to get meth. And my drinking pretty much took a backseat to my meth addiction because I just was so obsessed with trying to keep the weight off that I just wanted to, you know, keep the weight off. And when I, in 2000, so I did meth for about 16 years, um, pretty much almost every single day. Um, a lot of my friends knew that I was doing something because the weight was coming off, and I wound up losing about 100, a total about 145 pounds. And then toward the end of my addiction, which was like 2015, I lost my job. I was stealing from my job. My boss found out. Um, that was like in March or April of 2015. And for that whole summer, I couldn't really get a job. I was taking jobs here and there, um, just to get money. Um, and my parents knew something was up. I told them I had a gambling addiction because I felt like that was the lesser of the two evils. And in September of 2015, I realized that I needed help. And I searched online and found, I don't even know how I ended up here, but I went to a treatment facility out in Mississippi, and that's currently where I live right now. I went to treatment and I still didn't want to get sober. My weight was back up because I wasn't doing meth anymore. I couldn't really get it anymore. So I was just really drinking, using Xanax, and smoking weed. And um, when I came to treatment, I relapsed on my sixth day with uh, I was in a like a sober living house, and me and the girls walked to the liquor store and we bought wine, and one of the girls found weed in the neighborhood. And I never drank wine. I was always never a wine drinker. I hated wine actually. And when I relapsed on wine, I realized that I have a bigger problem than I even admitted to myself. And that's when something clicked in my head and I realized that I really needed to get sober. And I was in treatment for 7 weeks. When I came into treatment, I was living in Staten Island with my sister. And while I was in treatment, she told me I wasn't allowed to come back there. So I decided to stay in Mississippi in a sober living house. And I was in the sober living house for 10 months. And during those 10 months, when I was 7 months sober, I was hired by the facility that I went to as a transportation driver. And this past April, is 9 years that I'm working there. I'll have 10 years of sobriety in September. And
Congratulations.
thank you. And working at this facility, I got many promotions over the years, and now I am currently the alumni coordinator. And I truly love my job. I love what I do. My life is just so much better since I got sober and clean.
I love to hear that. Um, Sorry to hear about the journey to this point.
No, sorry. It's part of my story.
There we go. There we go. So I'm curious because this is my whole deal with our world is, again, what you don't know. Do you think life would have been different? Say you had resources or you actually knew how to attack this health situation. You had the proper structure as far as exercise and you knew about meal planning and eating right. Do you think life would be different?
Mm, no.
Okay. So when you when you first started the Weight Watchers, from my understanding, this was mainly a diet change. And you said you'd walk on the treadmill just a little bit.
Correct.
Okay. So what were some of the strategies that you were using? Were you eating at certain times of the day or were
So
you
back then, my weight loss was, I don't want to say lucky, but I did it because I didn't want to look the way I looked to be in a wedding. But
uh-huh.
fast forward to last July, July 1st. So over the past 10 years, since getting sober, I really wasn't concerned with my weight. I got married. I didn't really, not that I didn't want to lose weight, but I did stupid things. Like I would just eat one meal a day. I would, uh, think that what I was eating was okay. But about a couple of months before last July, everybody started doing the Ozempic and the Wegovy and all those
Mm-hmm.
weight loss drugs. And I tried so hard to get them because back when I started Weight Watchers again last July, I was about back up to 200 pounds, and I couldn't get them. My insurance wouldn't pay for them. I didn't really want to spend $300 a month on a shot because everybody told me that, once you stop the shots, you gain the weight right back. And my husband said to me, "You lost so much weight on Weight Watchers back in the day. Why don't you just join again?" So that's what I did. I downloaded the app. My friend sent me a link to join for free for 3 months. And July 1st of 2024, I decided to start Weight Watchers. And I always belonged to a gym. And I started going to the gym more. I would go, and I worked my way up. I was doing abdominal crunches and I was doing the treadmill. And I started like doing 45 minutes. And then after a couple of months, I upped it to an hour. And over the past year, I have lost 65 pounds to date. I'm currently 135.8 pounds. And I go to the gym every Saturday and Sunday. I do 4.5 miles on the treadmill both days. I do 4 sets of 20 crunches on the abdominal machine. And every morning I do at my house chair aerobics. It's a 30-minute session, and I do that 7 days a week, even the days I go to the gym. And since starting Weight Watchers back in July, I have realized that I am loving the way I look. I can't even believe I am the weight I am right now. I feel like a totally different person, um, except because I was so overweight back in the day. I have so much skin, um, that the only option now is surgery to remove the skin.
Hmm. Okay. Um, this is just I guess this is a sidebar type of question. So as far as your journey, you said the only option for your skin removal is you would like to get it surgically removed so you
Correct.
can basically complete your transformation.
Yes, so June 10th, I am scheduled to have skin removal of my whole middle section, a little bit of my back. The doctor I'm going to will not do any other surgeries at the same time. He said I probably need a total of about 6 different surgeries, um, including my thighs, my arms. If I want to do my breasts, that's like the last thing I would even do because my arms have always been huge, and I won't wear anything that doesn't cover my arms. Even when I got married, I had a dress that was off the shoulders, and I had them put something attached to the dress to cover my arms. I've always been very conscious of my arms, and my legs were always my best attribute. For some reason, my calves are very muscular. Um, but now my skin is hanging so bad that I love to wear skirts, and I can't really wear them right now because my skin is so bad on my thighs that you can see it a little bit if I wear a skirt.
Okay, well, I am wishing for that to come sooner rather than later for you. Yes, ma'am, sooner than later. Um, there was something you said. You said in your journey that once you pretty much took the mental pressure off losing the weight, it came easier. Is that a right
Yeah.
inference for me? So
Once
what
I
would
stopped like trying to like scheme, I guess the word would be scheme
almost
weight loss,
like a
like trying to just eat one meal a day, or I'll do
uh,
this, and like trying to figure out how I could lose weight fast. I decided to go back to my go-to, which was Weight Watchers, and lose weight the right way.
there we go. See, I really appreciate that. And I know other people appreciate that too, because just like money, there isn't really a get rich quick scheme. I mean, there are,
There's no quick
but they
fixes.
they'll fall through. They'll fall through, and it's like playing the lottery. Um, you can win that 10,000, but you could easily work for it. It'll just take a little bit longer, but be more worth it.
Right.
Way
There's
more
there's
worth it.
there's definitely no quick fix. I mean, like, hold on, I just dropped. In this day and age, I'm sure you know as well as I do, half the world is on those weight loss drugs. And I have a very dear friend that's on them for probably about 2 years now. But her insurance just stopped paying for a specific brand and switched it to a cheaper brand. And I'm sure eventually that's going to end because isn't just going to keep paying for people to keep getting this shot, especially if they're not diabetic and they don't need it for medical reasons. Um, I've just heard so many stories about people that did that drug, um, gaining their weight back after they came off it. And, you know, like you said, it's a get rich quick scheme, and that's not the way to lose weight.
You said it. You said it. You said it. I'm glad we're in agreement to that. I really feel that health cannot really come from the needle or for drugs. And I'm happy that you realized that and it clicked. So, so what would you say to somebody that are using those drugs? You know, maybe a message to your dear friend, because look, I have people in my family, I have coworkers that are using this drug as a weight loss solution. What would you say as someone that has dug their feet in the ground and really went for it? What would you say to them? What would be some advice you'd give to them? Some nice advice.
I would say you need a backup plan. You need a plan B because once you're done with those drugs, um, you're going to need something to help you sustain your weight loss or even continue it. And I don't know if you're on the Weight Watchers page, I don't know if you're a fan of Weight Watchers, but I think Weight Watchers is really the best diet out there for me. Um, I would recommend Weight Watchers to anybody who needs to lose weight. And it's not going to be, you're not going to lose all your weight as fast as you might want it, but you're doing it the right way and the healthy way. I mean, back when I lost all the weight the first time and then I started back on, started using drugs, I wasn't healthy. I was thinner, but I definitely wasn't healthy. Now I feel like my, besides my cigarette smoking, which I'm really trying hard to stop because I can't smoke for the surgery, um, I feel like I'm at my healthiest I've ever been, and I'm 56 years old right now. I don't think age matters. I think when it's the right time for you to get healthy and live a healthy lifestyle, it's going to happen. And now I look at what I'm eating. I buy things that have a lot of protein in them. I try and eat, especially since I'm working out so much, I'm trying to eat more protein than I have ever eaten before. I don't eat really any bread at all. The only carbs I eat really, not that I'm carb free, but I buy like a wrap that has like no carbs in it, and that's the only bread in my house. Um, I don't I don't really eat pasta, and it's not because I don't like it. It's just I found other things to eat instead that are very satisfying. And even my husband looks sometimes because I measure my food. And people get lazy. And I think that's the reason people don't stay on their weight loss journey because they get lazy. They don't want to continue to have to measure or only eat one piece of meat as opposed to two. But if you truly want to stay, if you truly want to keep the weight off, you have to realize that it's a lifelong journey. It's not something like my sobriety. It's not something that I can pick up and go back and pick up and go back. The food is just as addicting as anything.
You said it right to the T. I think what you are doing and the journey that you're on is best for you. because health is not a one size fit all type of thing. It's almost like clothes. You know, everybody has different styles, and some clothes may not fit other people the way that they fit other people. And I think as long as you have these three things, mind, movement, and food, as long as you have those three things figured out in your lifestyle, you will be in a good place to thrive, which
Yeah,
it's awesome. And it's very interesting to hear different types of ways, but that's the beauty. You don't have to do it just one way. That is the beauty. You can attack it in many different ways. And I really love the community that Weight Watchers has built because it's supportive, it's informative, and it helps bring people together
yes.
because you can't do it
Uh-huh.
by yourself. You
No,
can't do it by yourself. Matter of fact, I don't think you can do anything by yourself in this world. I think we all need each other. So
right.
when it comes
I
down to it, mind, movement, food, and collaboration. There we
I
go.
also was a big soda drinker. Never regular soda, always diet soda. And I didn't stop it because it's not healthy for you. I just stopped it because it's not necessary for me anymore. I drink water. I buy sugar-free Kool-Aid, um, the squeeze bottles, and I put it in my water. And I probably drink close to 80 ounces of water a day, every day. It just became second nature to me.
Yes, ma'am. You must hydrate.
The only time I drink soda now is if I go out to dinner, which I don't really go out to dinner much at all, except if I go visit my mom in Florida because she loves to go out to dinner.
Hmm.
But as far as here, in my house, in my home, I don't have soda. I don't, and I don't. I used to also buy like frozen meals. I don't even do that anymore. I'll make grilled chicken now. And I still can have regular food. I just have to make sure it's within my points. I can have anything. I can have a piece of chocolate if I want, as long as it's within my points. You still need, I feel like you still need, if you want a piece of chocolate, mind over matter. Your mind is a very, very powerful instrument. And if you want that piece of chocolate and it's in your mind, I know how my mind works, and it's always going to keep thinking about it and thinking about it and thinking about it until I actually have it. So if I get like that, I let myself have it and I just allow my points for it.
There we go. And so this is what I, and this is not, this is what I encourage us all to do. Um, Again, food should be, it should be great. It should be wonderful. You should enjoy it. Um, I would say search for healthy alternatives. And when you can't find that healthy alternative, make it yourself. Make it yourself. This goes from drinks that you like to foods to snacks and even the soda. Like if you add bubbles to it, you've got your drink, which I'm sure you've lost your taste for it because what you're telling me,
Yeah.
it sounds like your taste buds have changed. So when you start creating your own food and you start cooking your own food, I mean, that's a whole different level. You're telling me that you were grilling your chicken. That's a whole different level of fulfillment. I mean, um, I, it's getting to be summertime and I live in Texas. So I like to make ice cream, but this isn't the ice cream that's the Bluebell or anything like that. It's ice cream from frozen fruits. Stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that is so empowering. And so I love that you have begun to explore that and realize, hey, I mean, I used to have this, but I don't really need it. And
Right.
if I want it, I'm going to have it because you're not in a dungeon of life. You can enjoy your food and you shouldn't feel guilt towards your food, but it's just that consciousness of, hey, knowing what I'm putting into my body and the science behind it, tracking it, making sure that you're staying on track.
Right. Even my coffee, I don't even use cream anymore. I used to use an International Delight cream. Now I use Premier Protein shakes in my coffee. So I'm getting my protein and it's very satisfying.
Little changes each day, definitely
Right.
big impact. So to wrap us up, I would like to ask you to ask a question to someone. You don't know this person, but I want you to ask a question to them, and I will have them answer that question on my next podcast or video slash interview.
Hmm. Um, what have you done for yourself today that makes you feel special?
I love that. I love that. That's awesome. Perfect. Well, hey, I super enjoyed you today. I really appreciate your testimony and telling your story. And you keep at it. You keep
Thank
at
you
it.
so
It
much.
sounds like your quality of life is there and you've gotten comfortable and you're enjoying your life. And there's nowhere but up from here. I'm happy that you found love. You have your support system going. It all works out, doesn't it?
It does. If you put the work in, it's definitely worth it.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
It's good
Okay.
to be on this side of the dirt.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. All right. Well, I hope that you have a great week. Again, thank you for your time. And
You too.
I will make sure to get this to you. I would love to, it'll take some time, but I'd love to go back and turn this into an article for people to read that don't have the time to listen. But this is going to be very empowering, and I appreciate you so much. The world
Thank
will
you so
appreciate
much.
you.
And I will be posting pictures of my before and after, so look for those.
Great, great. I sure will. All right.
All right.
Happy
Thank
Tuesday.
you
You
so
have a
much.
good day, and we'll be in
Too.
touch.
Okay. Bye
Bye.
bye.